I'm back, and I'm ready to talk about a snake, as per usual. So, this may be a bit obvious, but I am quite the fan of the Arctic morph. I'll put my sunglasses here. I was literally... So, fun fact, I found these at like a live show I went to, and I meant to return them and just forgot that I had them on my person, and now they're mine. So, but missed an upload last week, so I'm still gonna upload the video I intended for last week. Just it's being filmed today and then getting uploaded today. But I'm excited about this video. But the reason I didn't upload last week, I'm gonna just mention it before I hit 2 minutes, is that I was in Florida again. So look forward to that, because I did see a lot more this time. I even have footage of me trying to grab something. Something venomous. I'm not just going to say I grabbed something, because there's a lot of odd things to grab in Florida, and there's a lot of odd things that can grab you. Remember that. But, so, that's where I was this last week. I just didn't feel like filming when I got back immediately, so I didn't. That's my parents laughing in the background. But I've been making some gradual changes to how my my room is set up. Rude. Just kidding. I'm debating if I want to. I'll show it in a different video. That's not what this video is about. But I have made some cage upgrades already. Very pleased. My blood python is in fact already in her new vision cage. I just need to get... I'm still debating on what substrate I want and what cage decor. But my Malagasy was upgraded from his quarantine bin, because he is 100% free of everything he had now, which is nice, and I'll go into that in the next video, because that will be dedicated to him. Now this video is dedicated to my favorite snake in my collection. Well, for hog noses, anyway. So a lot of my close friends know I'm a bit of a JMG simp. I was so tempted to not use that phrasing just because of how it sounded. But I really like a lot of his snakes, and I am a huge fan of the Arctic gene. Now, I'm pretty sure I've talked about the Arctic gene in the past. I'm going to talk about it again a little bit today, and then I finally figured out how to do reels, so I feel a little bit less like a boomer, and I'm indeed going to use them. So I'm actually going to start up a series for reels only, just because it'll be a minute or less. Well, about a minute, so maybe a little bit over, but called Minute Morphs. I'm obviously going to cover what I have in my collection and what I have had, based on the footage that's available to me and my editing skills. So, look forward to that if you want. It's not going to take away from the weekly uploads. They're just going to kind of go out when I feel like it. But, besides the point, within this box is the singular most expensive snake in my collection. It is also my most prized snake in terms of its genes. Not including heads, just visuals. It is my most prized snake. And my favorite. Hi, little Jonathan. Yes, that's a JoJo reference. It's my little super Arctic boy from the unboxing. God, he's so tiny. Oh yeah, and then do want to mention he's going to be the next one to get a vision upgrade. Hi, Jonathan. Yeah, you're hungry. Oh, yeah, you're fucking salivating already. I'll feed you after this, I promise. He's been like roaming around for food today, because today is feeding day, one of the feeding days, because I was doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday before I left, and the Fridays are more so if someone skipped, there'd be a third day in the week. But this is my little handsome super Arctic. Ew. investigate that. I've never seen the hognose do that before. Unless this is from all the water I gave you. That's also a possibility. Because I know, I'm thinking about it, I've had Mexican hognoses do that. I'm going to have to look at that carefully. But, so anyway, I'm worried he's sick. But my hognose, my beautiful, beautiful Super Arctic, I just love this morph. It's very variable, and it goes great with almost anything you can think to mix with it. My two favorite combos are the Pink Punch, which is a Toffee Super Arctic, and God, what moon is it? Which moon morph is it? Because there's Moonbeam, Moon Dust, and something else with a moon. Anyway, it's a Lavender Super Arctic. As you can see on him, he has some blue siding. Oops. Some blue siding here. You can see his little black saddles. They'll fade more into this brown-green color that's within the saddles currently. And then he has a little bit of a peach-colored head. I don't know how well that's coming out on camera. But I'm just excited to see how he looks as an adult. And he also has that classic all-black belly, which seems to be paired with the two co-dominant morphs I've seen, or incomplete dominant is the correct way to say it, but it is very commonplace to hear people say co-dominant instead. But basically that means that there are this is the two allele expression of the morph, of the Arctic morph. Oh, someone's getting sassy. But, so, Talos is my Arctic het albino male, and he is just the singular expression of this gene. Now, Jonathan over here is the two allele expression. So technically speaking, Talos is het super Arctic, which is just Arctic. For those of you who are trying to wrap your heads around that, it is kind of weird. But so if I breed an Arctic to an Arctic, it creates super Arctics. A super Arctic to a normal produces all Arctics. So it's basically like your average heterozygous trait, where you have to have two of the genes to express it, two of the copies of that allele. Only difference is that you get a super form when you have two of the copies to express it, and you have a standard expression with only one copy, meaning that it is acting like a dominant because it will be passed on. And, well, I shouldn't say it will be, because there is a percentage. If you're just breeding an Arctic to a normal, there's going to be a percentage of babies that don't carry the Arctic trait. But, oh, do you want to back down? There you go. Yeah, sassy. But the Arctic gene is kind of similar to exanthism in the aspect that it reduces some of the red and yellow pigments, but that also, in some cases, like with him getting a pink head, you're going to need red pigment for that. It just isn't quite the case. You can also hatch out red line Arctics, which also proves that isn't really the case. And the Arctic gene was originally paired heavily with Lemon Ghost until Jeff from JMG Reptiles isolated the Arctic trait. Oh, so sassy. So big and scary. Oh. And so it's not quite exanthism because you can't truly make something that is the lack of yellow pigment yellow. Which is what exanthism is. Anutheristic, which is similar to xanthic in terms of producing usually gray animals. Anearthristic is the removal of red, which is erythristic. And then axanthic is the reduction or lack of yellow, which is xanthic. Yeah, I know, I'm talking about you. And so this can be paired with lemon ghost, which is the yellow line of hognoses. This can also be paired with watermelon, green line, I'm blanking, oh, purple line, red line. I thought I saw somewhere that someone had a Diablo Arctic, but I could be mistaken. Diablo is just a heightened red. And then of course you have normals, like just your standard run-of-the-mill, which is this one. Now, even within this, there's a lot of variability because hognoses in their natural state are pretty variable. And so because of that, there you get some cool variability within the Arctics, and then of course in the super Arctics. Which is why I'm not going to really label this as exanthism. I do remember finding an older article on Arctics calling it the JMG Axanthic. But that title now kind of seems a little disingenuous, not really true, because this isn't true exanthism. On top of that, it also increases melanin production. If you noticed, he is white and black. Yeah, my fingers look like Pinky. You gonna bite me? I promise I will feed you. I think he's just hungry, Cranky. He's hangry. But so the melanin production is increased. So a lot of these albinos are going to look white and pink, as opposed to the standard albino, which tends to be more orange and yellow in hognoses. And that is because it's going to act similar to a snow when it's in an albino form, but that tends to be more in the case of super Arctic albinos rather than Arctic albinos. Arctic albinos are still neat on their own, do not get me wrong. I would love to have one at some point, but I would much rather also, I would also really like to have the Bub's Daddy, which is the albino super Arctic. Well, it might be the albino super Arctic, super Conda, not super Conda, Conda, the albino super Arctic, because I like how they look. There's a pretty vibrant pink where the black would be, and where the white would be, it's just a very clean looking white from all the, from all the pictures I've seen. And so the super Arctic, I would honestly, or just the regular Arctic, both are very pretty snakes. I would highly recommend them if you're looking into becoming a hognose breeder, or just wanting to keep them or collect. It is a very appealing morph to look at, and an appealing one to work with. I saw so many different Arctics at vendors at the Tucson Reptile Expo, which was so cool to see. I made a contact that that is probably going to be the next person I buy from. I'm very excited. I'm really hoping that that's the next person I buy from. They had a lot of cool snakes at their table this year. I'm not going to say yet in case I do not buy from them, but more than likely I will. But they had super Arctics there, so it was cool to see full-grown adult females, or at least breeding size females there, just so I could kind of get a grasp on what they're going to look like as adults. But what is special about this male, which is one of the reasons why I had to get him, is that he is posset coral, which I don't think I've ever really mentioned on the channel. I may have mentioned it once or twice. That is lavender and albino combined together. So it's the lavender equivalent of a snow, which a snow is an axanthic albino. It is just another albino combo. But with the Arctic, it kind of helps clean up the colors, and with super Arctic, I'm not really sure what that looks like. I haven't been able to find any pictures. I'm just kind of curious if, I wonder if Jeff would know of anyone who has one, or if he has any. But it seems like a very cool looking snake. I have seen a coral Arctic before. I really liked how it looked, or at least a pos coral Arctic, but to me it looks very Arctic. I liked how it looked a lot. So That's kind of a project I'm going to be working on in the future. But I just liked having the Super Arctic, so I'm definitely going to be heading more down the Super Arctic rabbit hole. Even though these are pretty expensive, at the price point on average being around $1,000 per snake, and that is for males usually. I think mine was 9 something, so they're pretty pricey. But to be fair, mine also came from JMG, so his are going to be of higher quality in my opinion, and the colors, the contrast patterns, all are going to be fantastic. Good genetic stock, came from the progenitor line, so to me that is like the holy grail line. That's my favorite. So of course they're going to be a little bit more expensive. You can find some on Morph Market. I think the lowest I've seen was $750 for one, which isn't too bad in the grand scheme of things when you're talking about hognose morphs. Hognoses have still, for the most part, retained a lot of their value over the years, because they're not the easiest thing to breed. And you have, I've heard of isolated incidences of cannibalism, where females will eat the males. Eggs just not coming to fruition, females eating the eggs, goofy, weird things. Not goofy, cannibalism's not goofy, but just weird things that go on with hognoses. And so I think that helps with that, but then the fact that there are still a lot of morphs and morph combos out there to be discovered. There was a new one this year that was called the Skull Face. Me being a dummy thought that I could get my hands on one, and I definitely could not afford to essentially buy a second car, because that is how much money it would have been, before the import fees and the international shipping. So yeah, needless to say, I did not get that one. But this is a very good morph, in my opinion, to have in your collection. It honestly you pretty much can go with anything, to be honest. Since it is a codominant morph, and you only really need one Arctic to start adding it into lines of things that you're already working on. And Arctic is already, in my opinion, a very good enhancer morph, and then the Super Arctic elevates that, in my opinion. I actually really love Super Arctic Supercondas. I think they're phenomenal looking. Combining those with Toffee Belly look astounding, in my opinion. Same with Lavenders. So that's mainly what I'm gonna focus on. But yeah, that's my spiel on the Super Arctics. I'm going to, in minute morphs, go more into what they do, because I first want to get accurate information on the differences between the exanthism and the Arctic, and really study that, so that way I can give as accurate of information as possible, because it's going to be condensed down into a minute, and it's going to be different information from what's in here in this video, because I'm gonna have different parts, probably one talking about the actual history of the discovery of the morph, and then one about the morph itself, and then of course the super form. But most morphs that have a super form, in my opinion, are just great morphs to have. So Conda, which is a pattern reducer, it is a very good thing, in my opinion, to have, because you can combine that with so much. Because Conda and Arctic, in my opinion, you can fit into any project and it'll just enhance it. It'll just make it better. You can say that about a lot of recessive things, but things that have super forms or just dominant traits in general are a lot less work. Because you don't have to be breeding head to head and hoping that you hit the odds, and then head to head again to hit the odds to make combo morphs. Whereas you can add these into those projects, which is what I'm doing, and you'll be getting different snakes other than normals no matter what. But that is my spiel, and I will see you all in the next video.